Now, I know this might be an overreaction, but is it time to start asking the question if Ty Lue is a better head coach than Doc Rivers?
Slow down there, buckaroo.
I mean, if you look at their resumes side by side, both won one championship, both have blown some leads, but also relied on some stars to get their wins. But now the one thing that connects them is both coached the Clippers, both coached the same pair of star duo, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, and one made it to the conference finals and one collapsed several times. Ben, I want to know your thoughts. Is it time to start talking about Ty Lue being a better coach than Doc Rivers?
I think with this, it depends on the team. Because I think with Doc Rivers, you can see with that Clippers team, kind of in the middle before Kawhi got there, but after Lob City, where they were kind of just floundering, he was able to still keep them competitive. And I'm not sure if Ty Lue can do that.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
We've only seen Ty Lue really head coach with superstars. We haven't really seen him go off and take a team that's sort of middling and all of that. And I think that's what makes it all. That's what really makes a great coach. That's why we say guys like Eric Spoelstra and Greg Popovich. Those guys are some of the best around now because they can do it with smaller teams. Or they can do it with worse teams. But if you're talking about like just as a coach for a team that's like that has superstars, I might have to give it to Ty Lue. I mean, look, the one argument that you have is that there was no competition in the East for LeBron every time Ty Lue was there, and that's fine. But still, to come back, I think 3-1 to win the Warriors. I don't know if Doc Rivers could do that. And don't get me wrong.
On the flip side,
see you on the flippity flip.
Doc Rivers is very good at blowing leads. We've seen it happen time after time again. I think he's the head coach with the most blown playoff leads, I think, active in the NBA.
He's the only coach to blow a 3-1 lead 3 times.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Oh, so only all time. We're not just talking active coaches. All time.
No, I think all time.
Yeah, so he would be more like on the receiving end of a Ty Lue comeback, not on the making it happen end. And I want to know, and so I clown on Doc Rivers a little bit. I always say he's one of the most overrated coaches, but all jokes aside, and we'll have some jokes later, but what do you think is the reason that he always finds himself in this position? Because it's like, fool me once, shame on you, right? Fool me twice.
Fool me, we can't get fooled again.
Okay, like what's going on? It happened 3 times. He blew a 3-1 lead 3 times. He's blown 2-0 leads many times. And we saw it just again just a few nights ago with the Sixers. Come on, like at what time is it time to call, if it walks like a duck, if it talks like a duck? What's going on with Doc Rivers and his aversion to success ever since he left Boston?
I think you can call it a duck. I mean, look, you can say he ran into hard times. He ran into LeBron in Miami. Then he went to the Clippers and nobody could stay healthy in the playoffs. But you're talking about now, and you can even make the excuse, oh, well, they had bubble issues and not everyone played well in the bubble and all that kind of stuff, which is a whole video unto its own. But then you have...
But that's where coaching shines.
Yeah, that's true. No, that's true. And I'm saying you can make that argument. Mm-hmm. And those could be valid reasons. But then you have this Philadelphia 76ers team. Now, you and I both knew that this team was not going to make it far. I mean, I've been calling it ever since they gave out Horford a max extension. You just can't do that. With this team, it should have been, okay, they're going to walk Atlanta, they're going to walk their first round matchup, they're going to walk Atlanta, and they're going to get to the finals. Or they're going to get to the conference finals at least. We're talking about a process, and we can talk about the process in Philadelphia all we want. I'm known to criticize it because they've had 3 processes and none of it worked. But this should have been it. This is the end game. This is the final it. You had the shooters and Seth Curry and I can't remember the guy.
Danny Green.
Danny Green, thank you. You had the star, or at least the star, in Joel Embiid. You had the supposed star in Ben Simmons, and you had
Tobias Harris.
Tobias Harris.
Air.
Who can be a very good plug and play guy who can come in and I think when you look at it, I don't know if Doc Rivers, I think he doesn't want to. It's almost like playing the hot hand for games.
The funniest thing is that Doc Rivers said, I think at the end of Game 5, like, I don't care if they go to Hacka Simmons, you don't know basketball if you don't play your best player in the end of the game. And then he proceeded to spend the next 2 games not playing Ben Simmons at the end of the game.
Yeah, they had us the first half, I'm not going to lie.
But that's really just more because Nate McMillan outcoached him. Yeah. And with Ty Lue, you could say a lot of things about Ty Lue, that he's been very lucky with some of the teams that he's had. But also, don't forget, there's a reason that when you have a great team that you want to take to the finals, you start looking around at the coaches pool who's available, and teams have picked Ty Lue time and time again.
Yeah.
Not only was he the head coach.
Yeah,
not only was he the head coach of the Cavs, but I mean, he went with the Lakers last year as an assistant coach, and they won the championship. I know the circumstances are different, but this year, Lakers collapsed under their own weight. They got out coached. We saw what Monty Williams did against them, and yes, there were injuries. Yes, there were outside concerns, but like Dennis Schroeder looked atrocious.
Yeah.
Right. They had like a rotating of 3 big men, and they couldn't figure out what to do with them. And I think that a lot of the rotations, that's where Ty Lue makes his bread and butter. He knows how to make stars look like stars and how to make role players do their job and not ask for more, because they all buy into, all right, well, we're going to win a chip, so do your job.
Yeah, 1,000%. Look, you can look at it in case study, in case in point. Paul George. Paul George of last year under Doc Rivers wouldn't step up in the same way he did this year when Kawhi's got injury, which we don't know how long it's going to be. Skip Bayless says it's significant. I don't listen to Skip it. But whatever. He's a situational coach. You have a team that is ready to win a championship. You have a manager that knows how. You have a coach that knows how to make that change and knows how to make those players play their best. Remember, we were sitting up here saying Kawhi is one of the best is arguably the best two-way player in the league. The best two-way player in the league. He needs to win a title here. He has Paul George. He has Rajon Rondo. He has all these different guys that can help him win. He has Luke Kennard. I mean, he got the MPs, but I don't really know. Realistically, this is a team built for a championship, and Ty Lue's a guy that can take you there. And it's odd, for a guy that is most known for getting stepped over. He's really had to overcome, that stigma about him for a while. And with Doc Rivers, I think it comes down to overthinking and playing the hot hand over games. He seems to not want to change what he does, especially until it gets to like a game 6 or 7, where the other coach has figured out what he's going to do and how to combat the change once it comes. So it seems to, once it gets to that 3-1, he overthinks and he says, okay, we're just going to play the team as we usually do. We don't change anything. And once he sees the other coach change, he goes, okay, we're just going to keep trying to do the same thing that won us 3 games.
Yeah, and I think the number one thing that Doc is always praised as is he's a player's coach, right? There's different types of coaches. There's like the schemes coach, the one that's always going to run the best plays. Doc is a player's coach. And it's kind of hard to hold that moniker when now for 2 teams in a row, you have a star player who's collapsed when the lights are brightest. Yeah. With Paul George last year, and I know it was the bubble, and you could say that there was a lot of mental things going on outside of just what's going on the court, but we saw the great coaches be able to keep their teams focused.
Stop it. Get some help.
And in line. And I think not having that support system for Paul George falls on the coaching staff shoulders, like first and foremost, when it comes to that situation. Other coaches probably would have handled that better and been able to keep Paul George a lot happier and a lot more calm and in his own head,
Yeah.
And now you go to Philly and you say, okay, well, no more excuses. There's no bubble. They're the first overall seed in the Eastern Conference. They have to make at least the conference finals. No excuses. And you have another star player in Ben Simmons, who is afraid to shoot the ball. He takes, I think, 3 field goal attempts in the fourth quarter in 7 games. 3 attempts in 7 games. I know he's not a scorer. I know y'all talked about it already at length in another video, so I don't want to rehash old things. But that is on Doc Rivers not instilling confidence in your all-star, your $29 million a year guy. How do you have a guy like that and not convince him to at least attempt more than 1 shot in the fourth quarter?
It makes no sense. And if you even want to go back to the Clippers, Paul George came out and said, yeah, it was how Doc Rivers was playing me. I was playing in a weird position. I had a weird job that I had never done before. And especially in bubble, you don't really want to do that to your player on your team. You can see this team, they as much as we do hail him as a player's coach, he was forcing even Joel Embiid into situations. He was letting Joel Embiid basically indulge himself into facing the basket, taking jump shots, not driving into the lane. It's almost what Budenholzer kind of succumbed to against the Nets with Giannis, where Giannis was taking threes. You just kind of have to say, okay, this is what's going to work. It's not what you want, but it's going to work. And I think that's another way where Doc Rivers kind of falls. I mean, I guess since he was a player, he kind of wants his players to be happy, whatever he's doing, and try to achieve as much as they can. But even then, you have to say, okay, winning comes first. Stats don't matter. Winning comes first.
But the question then is like, are the players happy when you bring in another guy like Ty Lue, who's also a player's coach? I think that's why I made the comparison, is they're so similar in their characterization, and it seems like Ty Lue just has more success. He does the same job, and he does it a little bit better, and he attracts talent too. It's not just he finds himself in good situations. He knows how to make that situation happen as well. But anyways, I want this conversation to be open, so let us know what you think. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let us know your thoughts. It is a controversial one, so I'm ready to get some debates going in the comment sections below. We'll be checking those if you made it this far in the video. My name has been Sam, and this is Ben, and this is the Banter Broadcast. Thank you for watching.